Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Anything Wrestling Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Today, unfortunately, it is not a triple threat. We are missing Dan the Man. However, we got the Sean.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is the Commish, and I will be the advocate of this podcast, along with the Shant, the host of the show.
Thank you. Evolution happened 2 days ago, and we are here to review the entire pay-per-view. I will go on record of saying that I think it surpassed everybody's expectations. I think even one of the women's wrestlers made a comment. I think it was Ruby Riott who said, I think everyone is waiting for us to fail and, kind of laugh at us. But I think they knocked it out of the park to an extent. I'm not going to sit here and say every single match was 5-star match, but
I think if we maybe by the end of this episode we can give it a grade as far as what we thought overall. Dan did send us some notes as far as how he felt about Evolution. Me, on a personal level, for being the first women's all pay-per-view, I thought it was great. There wasn't anything short of what you shouldn't or should expect. Everything kind of flowed well, better than I think most of the pay-per-views we've had this year.
And
I'll be honest.
Thank God it wasn't 4 hours long.
Vince, if you're paying attention. But
He's not.
I say let's get right to it.
Let's get to it.
Let's see. Oh, by the way, we do have notes from Dan, Trish Stratus, and Lita versus Mickie James and Alicia Fox with Sean's girl, Alexa Bliss, in their corner. We're going to review Dan's notes first, just so we get that out the way every time, and then we'll give our spiel about it. So he comments on this saying, starting match to get the nostalgia rolling. The idea was likely the same as opening a show with New Day to get everyone hyped. Match was okay overall until the botched finish, but served its role. You want to take this first?
Sure. First of all, in regards to that botch, when it happened, when the fans, I could tell they wanted to start cheering you fucked up and kind of shit all over them, but I was like, guys, it happens, get over it.
Like, for once, universe, can you not ruin something?
Yeah. Pittsburgh. But no, I thought that this was a good match. Actually, I was surprised that it was the first match on the card, but to an extent, that kind of shows an evolution on its own, stating that, hey, we're going to have veterans come back, but we're not going to push them into the main event. We want the new talent to have that spotlight. But to get the crowd going, here is a dash of of what's going on today, along with some Attitude Era wrestlers mixed into one. It truly is a shame we didn't get a chance to see Trish versus Alexa. Personally, a dream match of mine.
I would have been okay if we saw Lita versus Mickie and end all to a rivalry of their own that they had back in the Attitude Ruthless Aggression era.
Yeah.
My sentiments about this tag match, other than the botch finish, I thought it was great. It didn't seem one-sided at all. It seemed like you were getting a regular tag team match that flowed really well. Everybody was on cue. I kind of liked what Mickie and Alicia and Alexa did coming out in their Halloween costumes a couple days early. It felt nice, but overall a good match. I think if I had honestly, if we're gonna give a grading system on this, I would give this a B+.
I'm right there with you.
We move into the night into the first 20 women battle royal. Not first as in this has never happened, but just that it's the first, I guess, women's event, women's battle royal.
Yes.
Nia Jax being the winner. According to Dan, he states, meh. Again, it was okay. He didn't really care about Nia anymore. Wow, so passionate about that. So disappointed not to see Ember or his prediction of Zelina walking out with the win. I'm going to start with this one. Dan, I know you predicted her as one of your top 3 winners. So did we. I was in the same boat up until she decided to think that, oh, I'm going to pull off what I think, I forgot who did it. Like another woman did it earlier in the year. They snuck out the ring for a while, then came back, thought they won, but they lost. I don't know if it was Bailey who did that or somebody else. But when Zelina did that, I was like, okay, you ruined it for me, being that you were thinking you were going to win. Like, why would you do that?
And the cell.
Yeah, but honestly, as far as the match, it was action all throughout. There was never something you didn't miss. I thank all the Hall of Famers for eliminating the most annoying pair that didn't belong in the Battle Royal. Because if they were in that Battle Royal for most of it, I would have just skipped the whole match.
I was just telling you this. This is the one match to me where there is not a dull moment. And I think just from the get-go, you have the Iconics who have their mic time, get in the ring, the Hall of Famers throw them out, and then we have a face-off between the current regime and all the Attitude Era / Hall of Famers. And I believe that in this match, like I said, there was face-offs, there was finishers, there was epic encounters, there was a dance break. There was something going on each and every moment
There
of the
was
match.
never a stale, dull moment.
Never a stale, and like I told you just a couple minutes ago, we were discussing this. I feel like in Battle Royals or even in Royal Rumbles, you see someone trying to eliminate someone, they're kind of tugging, in the corners, and you're looking around, and you're like, okay, all right, and
It all looks the same.
You're
It's
waiting for
boring.
something to happen. This one, no, there is something happening each and every time. Personally, I was cheering for Asuka to get it done. Just because I thought that, yes, they might have dropped the ball with Nia as well, but they really dropped the ball with Asuka after WrestleMania. So, but Nia winning, I really didn't have a problem with it. Hopefully we can get another closure to the Nia and Ronda match, which we really didn't get the first time. So,
her winning it, I was okay with. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was a good choice. Let's just end something the way it should be ended already, at least with that supposed one-on-one rivalry. I think I'm just gonna go straight into the grading. I'm gonna give it like an A-, just because of how impactful it was all around. There was a lot going on. That's just me.
you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna be right there with you. I've heard a lot of people say it's very hard to construct those types of matches, and if you can have something happening for the duration of the 10 or 15 minutes that this went on, that's awesome. The fact that you can kind of get lost in a match and not experience a dull moment where you're taken out of it.
Moving on, we get to the first, or actually not the first, but the final women's match of the 2018 Mae Young Classic. Toni Storm versus, I don't want to botch the name, so
Io Shirai.
Io Shirai. I haven't been watching the tournament, so I'm gonna have you. Oh wait, let's have Dan first. Solid match in his opinion. Both women are very talented, and I'm excited at the prospect of seeing them both move into regular play on WWE TV. I liked Io a little bit more, but I'd be okay with this being another Sasha Bailey or Ember Asuka in NXT.
Okay.
You know more about this than I do. How do you
Yeah,
feel?
Dan, the man, and myself have kind of been following, through with each other throughout the duration of the tournament. And gotta say, man, Triple H, he knows exactly what the heck he's doing. However, I did feel like this match was watered down. I feel like they didn't get enough time. I felt like there wasn't enough of, oh, I hit a finisher, you kick out. You hit a signature, I kick out. I feel like some Mae Young matches, especially like the semifinal matches, were that. This one I felt like was just watered down and was just, I don't know. If I could describe it, watered down would kind of be it.
Well, seeing as from what I saw, this is what Toni Storm's jump into the finals, because apparently the year prior she lost in the semifinals. Obviously, I felt like she had something to prove in this match. Granted that the match was only like 10 minutes.
Is that how long it was?
Yeah, 10 minutes, 20 seconds.
Yes,
It
yeah.
actually should have gone a little more. Maybe I felt it kind of lasted a little more, but I was just, again, caught off guard with the fact that, like, these two are putting on a show. Like, they're proving they want to, like, be in this industry, whether it's an NXT or getting the straight jump into, like, one of the two brands right now.
Hopefully SmackDown.
I think if we're being honest, we do need to see more competition for Becky. So to put either or in SmackDown would be probably the best roster move.
Absolutely.
Overall.
Absolutely.
But again, it kind of felt a little slow at some points. Some things could have been a little more fast paced. You could have done a little more, but I'm gonna give this a B.
I will give it a B, not because of not because it was a bad match or a bad performance, but just, I guess, the politicking that kind of went into this. My whole thing is now this match was kind of under Vince's regime, not under Triple H's. Mm-hmm. So I think you can already start seeing a difference. But I want to see both of these two in a WWE, main roster ring one day. So
moving to the next match is the 6-women tag match of the Riot Squad, Miss Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan versus Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Natalya. Straight to Dan's notes. Couple of neat spots. Liv coming out of her shell in the match, while Sasha looked gassed halfway through. Not sure if she was not invested or if her conditioning was just shot from being out for a minute. Would have preferred Riot Squad to go over. Who do you want to take this, or
you go ahead?
Okay.
For the record, we kind of took a shit on this match before it even happened, but go ahead.
I think the reason why we did it, because look, we felt like this could have been one of those matches that could have, like, gone either way. You give it to someone who wins it. We said we wanted, obviously, who won it was Sasha, Bayley, and Nat. And then we would have seen dissension amongst the Riot Squad, because we want, I think it's spoken through this whole network personally. We want the push for Ruby to singles competition at least.
He is not referring to the WWE Network, which you can get for a non-negotiable but very reasonable price of only $9.99. He is referring to the Anything Wrestling Podcast Network,
which you can catch on YouTube
for a non-negotiable, very reasonable price of nothing.
But I think just for a 6-women's tag, I did notice Sasha was kind of gassed a little. She did seem like a little off her game.
I will say that the Riot Squad proved what a tag team should be in the women's division, because if you were really paying attention as opposed to just trying to fast forward the match or trying to take a shit on it, there were frequent tags. They had their unique tag team moves. They kept on saving each other, pulling each other out of the way of an attack, working together collectively. I thought this was great, and in my mind, I'm like, you know what? If Riot Squad wins, like midway through the match, I'm like, if Riot Squad wins, I don't got a problem with it, as long as you keep this consistency of their attack team, and they're gonna be a very dominant, 3-woman tag team. I found some new respect for Natalya. I will admit, for a long time, I was I'm like,
you were on the fences with her.
I was on the fence, but I'm like, you know what? I like this match. She did great. Not that she never does great. She's a veteran at this point, being with the WWE for a long time. But I thought these three did great. Great 6-woman tag team match. Absolutely, I'm a big fan of 6-man matches, and this match was awesome.
I thought with this match, like, it was nice to see Banks and Bayley out. Seems like we haven't seen them in a while in any event. Mostly on Raw, like with Bayley and Finn, doing their thing. It feels like I haven't seen Sasha in a while, to be honest. And like, of course, Natty being by MRRCBB. You'll see what that means later on tonight or later today in this podcast. It was okay. Like, it wasn't great, it wasn't bad, but like you said, the consistency and continuity between Liv, Sarah, and Ruby was awesome.
Yes.
It's everything that I've always seen in a good tag team. Just consistent tags, good offense, good defense, good saves. It felt good. What do you want to grade this?
I'm giving this an A, straight out.
I'm gonna be a little more harder on it, a B plus.
Okay.
Let's move on to the next NXT matchup. Oh man, Shayna
Brutal.
Baszler?
Shayna Baszler.
Shayna Baszler versus Kairi Sane. Dan says, very solid match. Hadn't been too invested in Shayna till now. She's growing on me, but I'll never be okay with the arm stomp. I'm waiting for a severe injury, and if it happens, I'm going to turn on her real fast. But both women, very talented. Interesting to see seeds planted for 4 horsewomen versus 4... I'm going to separate it from like 4 horsemen versus the 4 horsewomen of MMA at Mania. Okay. Shayna obviously is best friends with Ronda. It's kind of, I need to write it down. MRRBB. I know I said a C earlier, but I'm gonna take that out. But she seems to be the more aggressive of that group of friends, and my God, like I love this match, but I was scared at the same time because I've never seen someone. It seemed like she wanted to rip her arm off her socket. Like, Jesus Christ.
I will say this. Shayna, at first, I kind of took it as, when she was in the first Mae Young Classic, I was like, here we go, trying to push an MMA star coming into the WWE. But then when she went over to NXT and started having these programs with Kairi Sane and everybody else, I'm like, you know what? Okay, she got me. Those arm stomps.
She focuses on her opponent's arm consistently, and it just seems like, okay, we get it. That was your go-to in MMA, and obviously you fought with women a lot tougher that trained in MMA, but like you have wrestling talent now. You have to apply more of your wrestling skill than you do like your fighting techniques. There was a lot of cringy moments in this match,
exactly.
especially with what I think she stomped on her fingers a couple times.
Yeah,
I cringed real. Like, she had it bent at one point.
Yeah.
And then she stomps her fingers, and I was just like, no, oh my God. Like, I clenched my fingers in a fist because I felt like she stomped on my fingers, and it's just so bad. The match overall, it was a good match. I can't lie. I mean,
it was solid. Yes, it was solid. However, I did feel a little bit of excitement because 4 horsewomen versus 4 horsewomen, and I think, they're always talking about we want to see the women main event at WrestleMania. If you want to have a main event at WrestleMania, you cannot have any other match other than 4 horsewomen versus 4 horsewomen in the main event.
The thing is, though, like, we have to also establish the fact that it's like, who's the original 4 horsewomen of the WWE?
Becky Lynch, Charlotte, Bayley, and Sasha Banks.
So, okay. Becky and Charlotte, right?
Right.
Here's the thing. How do you get those 2 back together again?
I think it should be one of those things where it's like, I'm teaming with you guys. For the moment being, I'm teaming with you guys. But the second when this is all over, I'm going back to doing me.
It just seems like, okay, in my personal opinion, to have them back would be great. But you have your person that's going to try to establish themselves as their leader while the other 3 are going to be like, you need to work with us as a team. And it's like, no, you don't get it. I'm my own person. Like, it seems like, and they were saying it throughout the pay-per-view, that Becky's on her own. She doesn't have friends anymore. She's like alienated herself from a lot of people. And it seems like she's doing this on purpose. To get them back together against these 4 of the MMA, it's like, ooh, it'd be a great match for Mania. If you want to be revolutionary and end it with them, it has to be a great 4-on-4. But
for selfish reasons, if I can have a second option, I would love to see 4 horsewomen versus 4 horsewomen traditional Survivor Series elimination match.
I think it would have been better that way, just because it's like you have it there. Or We'll discuss this because I guess they already kind of predicted a match for Survivor Series between champ versus champ.
It's Ronda versus Becky. Yep.
Yeah, I think that could be like the planting of the seeds for that, but we'll discuss that after. So,
but overall, I think with the implementation of I don't know the two other names of the MMA Four Horsewomen, but with them interfering, I feel like that's a good way to kind of bring them up to NXT or the main roster. Unique introduction as opposed to traditional,
Well, I mean that's kind of like how what's it called got their start. The Radicals. They were just there in attendance, even though we knew the storyline was they're looking to get signed. They were already signed at that point.
Yeah.
And it's like they introduced themselves by just fighting along whoever came along their path that night. And then, of course, they had to prove themselves on SmackDown.
Yeah.
What do you grade this match? Like, if you had to.
I'll give it an A. It did what it had to do.
Me too.
Even
with the severity of everything going on, like with Shayna, I still hands down.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do a little twist. We're not gonna talk about the next match because the next match deserved to be the main event.
No, the next match was the main event.
But we're gonna switch them up. We're gonna go straight into Mouse Raccoon Bluebird. I don't know why you decided to put blue eyeliner along your face this time. Versus,
she was feeling blue.
Oh dear God, no. Versus one of annoying
Boob
two.
job. BJ.
You ran out of your man's bedroom because he kicked you out, according to her. Nikki Bella. Dan says the match was probably Ronda's best match to date. Probably. Had more story than the others. I look forward to her eventual turn and prep for the 4 versus 4. Nikki looked good.
Now, when he says she looked good,
he just writes Nikki looked good. We can't specify what he means if he's not here. God bless Brie, but her acting is awful. Finish came after an awful looking top rope slam where I was nervous Nikki might seriously have hurt her arm until I saw that she hadn't. Good building block in Ronda's growth I'd like to see more of. Obviously, Dan's more fair, but very critiquing. Me and you are very biased of Ronda.
Can you blame us?
No,
Okay.
I can't. If everything was done different for Ronda, then maybe we'd be different about it as well.
Okay.
Are you going to set the record straight?
Yes.
If you could be serious for a minute.
If I could be serious for a minute. Tell me if this is fair. This was probably midway through the match and this suddenly came to mind. I thought to myself, okay, Ronda, she's the champion, so she's got to be there. Fine. So, you are not even anymore consistently in the WWE on a week in, week out basis. You come back, hog up the spotlight, and you take up the main event. Is that fair?
Who are we talking about?
Nikki.
Oh, no, of course not. Like, you find a way to push yourself back into relevance immediately.
And
it's because of you and your sister's triumph in like media, in the media world.
It downright just pisses me off the fact that if you want to talk about an evolution, Becky and Charlotte was supposed to be the last match. When I heard Michael Cole say, and here we go to our next match, the SmackDown Women's Championship match, I got pissed. I got pissed really bad. I'm like, oh, hell no. Hell no. You are not putting a last woman standing match between these two with the feud that they've been having over Nikki and Mousetrap Raccoon Bluebird? Are you kidding me?
That's a mouthful to say, right?
It is a mouthful.
Okay, to be fair, I wasn't happy that this was the main event. We all know what the main event should have been and was. As far as the match itself, or you know what, let's talk the politics first because we haven't even dove into the match itself yet.
What match?
How long was this match?
How long was it?
The 14 minutes and 15 seconds of debauchery.
Unbelievable. Got more time than the Mae Young Classic match. Unbelievable.
Okay. So, again, we've already said how we feel about MRRBB as far as like her immediate intense push, which is still unfair to us. You're right as far as the Bellas go. It's like, and on top of that, I get it. You're selling yourselves as heels and whatever. You know, what pisses me off is like, okay, you have to separate yourselves from the entire women's roster and say it's the Bellalution. Why can't you just for once, like, own up to something where you're together with the women of your roster overall? Because this is supposed to be something for everyone. You're trying to make it seem like it's all about just you two only, always. Alexa came out in the beginning of the tag match and said, "Welcome to Evolution." She didn't say, "Welcome to my Evolution." She didn't take ownership into it like it was her own. As a heel, she sells herself properly, and she acknowledges her peers as much of a shit talker as she is to them. You two hog up the spotlight because it's all about you. I don't care how many shows you have. I don't care how much girls want to be like you. Honestly, I want little girls that grow up watching wrestling to want to be like Becky Lynch, to want to be like Charlotte Flair, to be somebody else. Hell, you could be like the mouse rat, raccoon, bluebird. At least them know what they're about. You two, on the other hand, it's all about you. It's all about what you get. It's all about what belongs to you, and that's just bullshit.
If I can interject something, I think Brie is a little less intense of that.
But she has to go along with her sister's BS.
Because from day one, they've been grouped together. But I'm no advocate of MRRBB, but she did say that the only reason why you guys came to celebrate with me at SummerSlam is because there was a camera pointed at me.
Yeah, and it's true. It's honesty. And I don't know if you guys on YouTube, when you watch other like wrestling shows or whatever, have seen like savage moments. But I would include those comments that Ronda has stated about them because it's the truth.
Well, let's get to the match because we're just talking about who these
are discussed.
Yes.
When we need to be discussing the actual wrestling event itself. Okay. Overall, it was decent. I'm not gonna lie to you. I wasn't as invested just because it's like, okay, I know what's gonna happen. What annoyed me was as much as Dan says she's developing, her taunting is annoying. When MRBB taunts you, it's like, really, like, you're going to do that and then you're going to get your ass kicked for a while and then you're going to do what you do. You're going to win it.
I like the whole toying thing that she was doing with Nikki, where she's like, it's this easy. It's this easy. Come on, get up.
Some of it annoyed me. Some of it bugged me personally, but
No.
I was just like, okay, this is what killed me during the match. And I'm so glad you guys pointed it out to me while I was watching it. Michael Cole!
I love you, Michael Cole.
You are this event's troll of the night. God bless you.
That's the thing now. We're going to have a troll of the night for each and every pay-per-view.
You were caught on camera looking down at your iPhone.
He was texting.
Were you that bored, or were you getting text messages from Vince or from Hunter telling you what to say next? Because it seemed like when he would get text messages, he would state something not in regards to the match. He would state something about the event. And it's like, you're not invested in this either. Holy shit.
I have never connected so closely with Michael Cole. I am so proud of you, Michael Cole. I love you.
Like, what is it that you deserve this. You deserve this. Troll of the night.
All right.
When you have your announcer, your one male announcer, by the way, who is happy to be working there, do what he did. My goodness, man.
Renee and Beth
Oh, Beth was awesome, by the way. You can't say she wasn't.
on commentary.
Better than Renee.
I love you too, but please stop.
I think Vince needs to work better with her.
I think it's the problem is that he's working with them because I said it before. Renee Young in NXT came off as natural, came off as okay, just go speak. Yeah, it's so blatantly obvious that they're being fed. You know, Michael Cole is the only one that sounds natural. And I think it's because for so many years he's had Vince in his ear that now he's like,
Well, it's not even that. I'm pretty sure Michael Cole at this point is like, all right, I'm not really going to listen to you anymore. I'm going to do what you would want me to do.
He's the man.
Grade. What would you grade this?
C-, and that's me being
Ouch.
nice. That's me being nice.
No, me being nice was
Hogging
gonna be
up
a
the
C.
spotlight, not even having a main event worthy type of match. Are you kidding me? A last woman standing match is how you end a pay-per-view, especially like this. Not the only thing that stood out to me in this match was the spot where she's got both Bella Twins on her back and she does that spinning Samoan slam or whatever. That's all that stood out to me.
Okay, so let's move into the actual main event of the night,
Yes.
which was the longest match.
How long?
28 minutes, 40 seconds.
Very well deserved.
Which should have been given more time from the main event to any of the NXT matches or the Mae Young Classic match. Becky Lynch, the SmackDown Women's Champion versus
The Man.
Charlotte. Oh, I'm sorry. Becky the Man Lynch versus Charlotte Flair
Dan?
in a last women's standing match for the WWE SmackDown Championship. Straight to Dan's notes. By far his favorite and likely match of the night. I'm going to agree right now.
Agreed.
Got the time, got the spots, the story was there, the drama was there, the intensity was there, and I loved every second. Becky goes over at it as it should be. If she isn't still the champ by Mania, WWE fucked up again. I love Becky and I respect Charlotte in general. So very proud of both women. I'm gonna let you go first on this.
Yes, I think that when you think of constructing a match and building it, the one thing I thought of is, so remember you and I were talking about AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe and how they took 20 minutes to finally grab a weapon and start using it. This is the prime example of when you have a match like this, if you have a feud like this one where it's Becky and Charlotte, former friends, now turned enemies who are, it's not even about the championship anymore, it's about who's better. I think, what was it, within 5 minutes, Becky was already grabbing a kendo stick, and she was hauling ass with it. She was hitting Charlotte. For a minute, I felt really bad for Charlotte. I'm like, poor thing, stop it, Becky. Like, that kind of kicked in for me a little bit. Construction of the match was great. Psychology was great. One thing that I was like, nope, this has Vince McMahon's paw prints all over it, was when Becky starts backing off and grabs her
the
title
fear.
and you know,
And she leaves the
and
match.
she tries. I'm like, no.
Thank you.
No.
I thought someone was not
No.
going to point that out.
No.
God bless you for it, Sean.
No,
I agree.
not gonna work, Vince. I'm sorry. Nope, not gonna work.
Like, Vince needs to stop doing that. Like, that's one thing I never want to see, especially when it comes to these two. I think if it were up to me, Hunter would have had it like this. You're not doing that. You will show that you're kind of afraid, but attack. Like, Triple H has done it himself where he looks like, oh shit, I'm going to get fucked up, but then I'm just going to attack you right
Yeah.
after. I would want to see that.
Before we get to your comments, one thing that Dan actually mentioned to me was that, so in the promo that they played before the match where they're showing the bit with Becky on the cutting edge, when she makes that comment to Edge originally on SmackDown 1000, everyone cheered because they're like, oh shit, she went there. However, in that promo package, they put booze in there. So they're trying to push her as a heel, but that is not going to work. What did you think of this match?
It's the match of the night. I'm not going to lie. It should have been the
100%.
main event. This is the first time. And if you want first times, this should have been it. You have a first time last women standing match.
No, this is the second one. They had one.
But
in
either way,
NXT.
for a first time women's pay per view.
Okay.
That's what I mean that as. I know there's been one before that. But my thing is like, look, these two gave it their all. They laid it all out. I'm sure even with this rivalry may not be over. If it is, and Becky's getting the push now to go up against the Raw Women's Champion, so be it. But either way, I saw everything in this match. I saw weaponry. I saw finesse. I saw wrestling. I saw anger. I saw fear.
Resiliency.
I saw everything that you could ever ask for in one of these matches. And to me, it's like, I haven't seen that in a while. I haven't even seen that this year. Maybe in one match. But then again, Pittsburgh ruined it. But the fact that I got to see it was fucking amazing.
Did you reach that point where? And sorry to cut you off.
No,
Did you reach that point? Because I kind of had that. I'm like, my God. So you have like a spot, and you're like, okay, that's probably gonna be the end. But no, they keep on going. There's another spot, and then you're like, okay, that's gonna be it. And then
you guys you guys know that. You know where I would do that? When I would text you guys the following EC dub, not the letter W. I would literally spell out DUB for them, because as we all know, whenever you see something hardcore, it's EC dub, EC dub, EC dub.
And he wrote it like 8 times back to back.
Holy shit! Like the ladder, the like her jumping off the ladder to get to the table.
I need to make
Charlotte
a comment
kind
about
of botching and then fixing it.
Well, here's the thing. I think it's a weight thing because I immediately thought back to Hell in a Cell 2 years ago when it was Sasha versus Charlotte, and they had the ending was that Charlotte was going to put Sasha through the table, natural selection, 1, 2, 3. Table didn't break, and she tried like 2 times, and Sasha's just getting ragdolled. And in this match, the first time when it didn't break, I'm like, come on, break. Like, I needed to have that satisfaction. I'm like, break. So when she went up, I'm like, in my own mind, I'm like, don't go for a moonsault. That's not going to work. Go for something else where you can compress your weight down and you can break the table. And finally, when it broke, I felt like this relief. I'm like, thank you.
Like, I get it. You guys are selling it and like, you're trying to push this rivalry very far. But to me, it's like, if you know there's limitations of what you can do as far as hardcore things, please plan it out a little better. Know your limits and limitations, because if you botch it, that is serious injury that will scare us as fans and scare you as the competitor yourself. And we don't want that to happen.
The one thing that went through my mind when this match was done, in my own mind, I'm like, no one can say that the women are restricted anymore, because this match was balls out. This match was more hardcore than the AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe match, and that's saying something.
Oh, that was hardcore? I proved my point by just that little sentence. 20 minutes when you have Corey Graves calling out, Mr. I'm annoying as shit.
Hey, he's a great commentator. Moving on.
Yes. That match took 20 minutes to see a weapon.
I even called it. I'm like, when are the weapons coming in?
And we're not even a part of the cell. We don't work for the WWE.
Yet.
Push. But come on, if us as fans can call it, give me a break. But in 5 minutes, chair, fuck it, another chair, candlestick, chair, tables. Holy shit, this was fucking awesome.
And what I really loved is that they actually divided the spots up almost evenly, because there was a minute where I'm like, okay, Charlotte, you need to get a good spot in, because let's be honest, this feud has been about 85% Becky and 15% Charlotte. Hurtful to say.
In this match, I think it was 50-50 this time.
Exactly. That's why it was maybe like 10 minutes, and I'm like, Charlotte, get a good spot in. Like, you need to have a memorable spot in this match, because if you don't,
it's going to be one-sided to everybody, and no one's going to really believe that you're selling yourself as this like good face that's trying to square off against the heel that you're supposed to, like, I don't know, be better than. Again, match of the night. It was the best thing ever,
Yes.
in my opinion. A+.
A+, 100%.
Okay, so judging from what we have here, I think overall this pay-per-view is between a B+ and an A-. The only thing
Yes.
that brings it there is the main event that was. Now let's talk about that ending after it. It was great to have all the women out. Obviously, they want to thank everybody. You know, you'll never see that in a regular men's pay-per-view because there's been a bajillion already at this point. But you guys noted out something specific that I didn't notice, and because I was just tired at the moment when watching it. Becky and MRRBB, they were next to each other. You said they cleaned belts, right?
Yep.
Becky,
how could you?
I guess it was the whole thing of the night, the moment. MRRBB tried to social media follow Becky, and immediately it was like, she tried. Becky, my goodness, woman, you know how to sell. You know how to start things. And I think that was the best way to start it. I don't know if MRRBB went on Raw last night and she said anything about that.
No.
Obviously, I think someone will bring it up to Becky tonight. Maybe she has to sell it because even though we got Crown Jewel, it seems like a very small event still.
I think the most controversial pay-per-view.
And it hasn't even happened yet.
And Sean's in it.
But he's not even spouting the controversy.
He just kicked Stan.
That's all he did. He just kicked Stan. Or Ty. But, yeah, it just seems like with this event, with like Becky doing what she's doing, it's like, hey, you guys really want me to promote this? This is how I'm going to. You guys want to put us together? I'm going to kick her ass.
I think the next feud that I would love to see, if we're moving away from Charlotte and Becky, would be Becky Lynch versus Asuka.
You think Asuka has her time to come back?
If Asuka can stay away from the dance-offs and the silliness and go back to like Empress of Tomorrow Asuka, you can get something very solid with these two.
I think with these two, it's like, the thing that I love it is that you have the diversity between them.
Yes.
Obviously, it's something that deserves its attention. Like, honestly, like, you know, you have one woman from Japan who was one of the toughest competitors in her country, and you have Becky from Ireland who, in her name, she's the loss kicker.
The man.
When you get that distinguished name under you, at that point, you're proving something. To put these two in a rivalry, it would be great. Even if we don't see it at Survivor Series, since we're getting what we're getting, we can still get it at TLC.
Yes.
You don't even have to make it a TLC match. You could just make it a good women's championship match. You can build spots from now till December as far as promos, who's better. You can even have a non-title match to start off to see who really is the better of the two. This is something worth promoting. Now, as far as Raw goes, okay, the 20 women battle royal with Nia Jax winning has shown that, one, she has this title shot again. You said it earlier that this is possible closure in this rivalry, because let's be real, during that, it was her, Nia, and Alexa involved. Alexa right now is either trying to get better from injuries still, or they just don't have something for her right now.
I think she has a concussion.
No, yeah. And she has to go through the protocol just like any athlete ever does.
Which is fine, you know.
As far as Nia, her story goes so many ways sometimes. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. I don't like the direction they give her sometimes.
I know
Because
you guys cringe every time I say this, but she's the big show of the women's division. And I'm not talking about physical appearance. I'm talking about face and heel turns. That she can come out 1 second and be a face, and she comes out the next week and she's a heel, and she comes back and she's a face. And
where are you guys going with her at this point? That's my question. Like, you're doing all this, but it's like you can't keep a straight story with her, and it's like, what do you do at that point? You know what I mean?
you take her to SmackDown. That's what you do.
Who do you have left on Raw?
It doesn't matter. SmackDown's the better show.
According to Shane, it's the A show.
It is. I'm just saying.
But yeah, I think we're gonna leave it at that. That's our review of Evolution. Again, for being the first all women's pay-per-view, it was great. Again, if they start getting more pay-per-views the following year, or if they get bigger pushes to bigger pay-per-views where the women headline and end the show, even better for the women's movement. Again, it was a great thing to happen in WWE.
100%. I truly feel like it exceeded everyone's expectations, because once again, I feel like us, to an extent, us included as well, we're taking a shit on it and saying, oh no, this is going to flop, this is going to be this. I think that it was pretty solid. Everyone had a place on the card. Everyone kind of, in the words of The Rock, everyone knew their role. But again, I feel like, once again, and what I love is that there was no implementation of males, because after the whole James Ellsworth thing at Money in the Bank, I was like, you better not pull some stupid shit again, having guys interfere in women matches. This has to be pure. It has to be to the point. It has to be all women, and it truly has to be what it is being called in Evolution. So there you go, guys. We gave our full thoughts and opinions on the entire show. We broke down all the matches. Let us know what you guys think in the comments section below. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you all next time.